Location: Mount of Olives, Jerusalem. Time: early morning, just after dawn. Visuals: a panoramic view of Jerusalem's old city bathed in golden morning light. Slow, cinematic shots of ancient tombstones on the Mount of Olives. The Dome of the Rock, Al-Aqsa Mosque, and the Western Wall visible in the distance. Morgan Freeman walking slowly among the centuries-old graves, wearing a modest overcoat and holding a journal. Narration: Morgan Freeman. For thousands of years, this place, Jerusalem, has been the epicenter of faith, conflict, and hope. And right here, on the Mount of Olives, lies one of the holiest beliefs about the end of days. For Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike, this mountain holds the key to resurrection, redemption, and the apocalypse. Interview segment: Freeman meets Rabbi Ariel Bar Zadok, a well-respected scholar of Jewish mysticism and prophecy. They sit on a stone bench overlooking the vast Jewish cemetery that stretches down the mountain slope. Freeman: Rabbi, why do so many wish to be buried here, on this mountain? Rabbi Ariel: according to Jewish tradition, when the Messiah comes and the dead are resurrected, this will be the very first place they rise. It is written that the divine presence will come from the east, and so, those buried here will be the first to witness that moment. Cutaway visuals: old prayer scrolls being unrolled. Close-up of inscriptions on weathered tombstones. A time-lapse of clouds moving over the city skyline. Freeman voiceover: this hope in resurrection isn't only found in Judaism. Christianity, too, believes in a judgment day, when the dead shall rise and the world will be remade. But how do we understand such a belief in today's world? Moment of reflection: Freeman walks quietly through the cemetery, his hand brushing the top of an ancient stone. He pauses to gaze at the city beyond, deep in thought. Freeman on camera: for some, the apocalypse means destruction. But here, I'm beginning to see it differently. Maybe the end is not about fear, but about promise. A future where justice and peace replace suffering and war. A world reborn. Scene fades out with the sound of a distant shofar, ram's horn echoing over the hills, transitioning into the next location. Tikal National Park, Guatemala. Time: late afternoon, golden hour. Visuals: wide drone shots of massive stone temples rising above the lush rainforest canopy. Close-up of intricate Mayan carvings, glyphs, and calendar stones. Freeman ascending the steep stone steps of Temple IV, surrounded by jungle sounds. The air is warm, humid, and filled with the buzz of cicadas. Narration: Morgan Freeman. Deep in the heart of the Guatemalan jungle lies a civilization that once looked to the stars to understand their fate. The Maya, master astronomers, mathematicians, and prophets, crafted a calendar that sparked a modern-day panic. December 21, 2012, the day many believed would mark the end of the world. Interview segment: Morgan meets Drive, Natalia Morales, a local Mayan historian and archaeologist. They walk through the ancient city ruins as she explains the origins and meaning behind the long count calendar. Dr. Morales: what most people misunderstood is that the Mayan calendar doesn't predict the apocalypse, it ends a Baktun, a 400-year cycle. Just as December 31st is the end of our calendar year, this was an end, and a beginning. Freeman: so the world wasn't supposed to end in 2012? Dr. Morales smiling: no, the Maya never believed in an end without a rebirth. It was a cosmic reset. A transition into a new era of consciousness. Cutaway visuals: archival footage of global news coverage from 2012 showing doomsday predictions. Tourists and spiritual seekers meditating in Tikal at sunrise. Mayan descendants performing traditional rituals with incense, drums, and chants. Freeman voiceover: so often we fear the end, because we don't understand it. But to the Maya, the end was not destruction. It was transformation. Cultural Insight segment. Dr. Morales introduces Freeman to a Maya priest, who performs a fire ceremony in a sacred clearing. Colored candles, copal incense, and offerings are arranged in a circular pattern. Priest translated: we give thanks to the Creator, to the four corners of the earth. A new cycle begins. Let it bring harmony, not fear. Freeman on camera: as the flames rise into the sky, I begin to understand. The Maya didn't fear the end. They embraced it as a passage, a door opening to something greater. Closing visuals: slow motion shot of the sun setting behind the temple ruins. Freeman silhouetted on a pyramid's edge, gazing into the forest. Fade into stars appearing in the night sky. Location: Cairo, Egypt, Al-Azhar University and local mosque. Time: midday under the desert sun, call to prayer echoes in the background. Visuals. The bustling streets of Cairo, weaving between the old and new. The majestic domes and minarets of Al-Azhar University. Students reading Quranic texts in marble courtyards. Freeman walking through the mosque courtyard in respectful attire, barefoot. Narration: Morgan Freeman. In the Islamic world, the Day of Judgment is not just a prophecy, it's a cornerstone of faith. Here in Cairo, one of the oldest and most revered centers of Islamic learning, I've come to explore how Muslims view the end of the world, and what it means for the living. Interview segment. Freeman sits inside a study room with Dr. Fatima El-Sayed, an Islamic scholar at Al-Azhar. Behind them are shelves lined with ancient Qurans and Islamic commentaries. Freeman. Dr. Fatima, what does the Quran say about the end times? Dr. El-Sayed, the Quran speaks of a final day, a day of judgment, when all souls will be held accountable for their deeds. There will be signs, chaos, the sun rising from the west, the appearance of the Antichrist Al-Masih ad-Dajjal, and the return of Isa, Jesus. Freeman, surprised. Jesus returns in Islam. Dr. El-Sayed, nodding. Yes, in Islamic belief, Jesus is not dead. He will return, defeat the false Messiah, and bring justice before the final hour. It's a message of purification and mercy. Cutaway visuals. A beautifully recited verse from the Quran echoes as worshippers bow in prayer. Close-ups of Arabic script from Surah Al-Zalzala and Surah Al-Qiyamah, verses about the Day of Judgment. A blackboard in a class showing a timeline of Islamic eschatological events. Freeman, voiceover. The signs of the end are vivid and symbolic: earthquakes, injustice, moral decline. But in all of them, there is also a message. It's not about destruction, it's about reflection, repentance, and divine justice. Cultural moment. Freeman joins Friday prayers at a local mosque. The Imam's sermon focuses on preparing for the Day of Judgment by doing good, being honest, and caring for others. Imam, translated. The wise do not wait for the end to change. They change now, knowing that every action is recorded. Freeman, on camera, later. For Muslims, the end is not an escape, it's a return. A return to truth. A final reckoning that brings eternal peace to the just, and reminds us all to live better today. Sunset behind the Cairo skyline in minarets. Freeman walking across a bridge as the evening call to prayer echoes. Fade to black as Quranic recitation continues softly. NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, Pasadena, California. Time: mid-morning, inside a high-tech operations center. Visuals. Gleaming satellite dishes turning slowly against a bright sky. Wide angle. Shots of massive tracking screens showing asteroid paths. Freeman in a NASA visitor badge, walking through the corridors with a planetary defense expert. Holograms and digital simulations of Earth being hit by an asteroid flash across monitors. Narration: Morgan Freeman. Religions around the world have visions of the apocalypse, but in the world of science, the end of the world isn't just a possibility, it's a mathematical probability. From solar flares to pandemics to asteroid collisions, our future may be at risk. The question is, are we prepared? Interview segment. Freeman sits in NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office with Dr. Elena Reyes, a lead scientist in asteroid detection and impact prediction. Freeman. Dr. Reyes, are there asteroids out there that could really destroy Earth? Dr. Reyes, pointing to a screen. Absolutely. Right now, we're tracking over 30,000 near-Earth objects. Most are harmless, but a few have the potential to cause regional, or even global, catastrophes. Freeman. How much warning would we have? Dr. Reyes. It depends on the size and trajectory. But the good news is, we're building early warning systems. In missions like DART, where we actually nudged an asteroid off course, prove we can defend the planet. Animation of the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs crashing into Earth. Footage from the DART mission, showing a spacecraft striking a small asteroid. Charts showing timelines of known mass extinctions. A countdown simulation of a future asteroid heading for Earth, then being diverted by a satellite system. Freeman, voiceover. For the first time in human history, we may have the tools to stop the apocalypse before it starts. But it will take vigilance, cooperation, and the will to act before it's too late. Reflection segment. Freeman walks through a darkened exhibit hall filled with meteorites and extinct fossils. He stops in front of a massive T-Rex skeleton. Freeman, on camera. This is what the last apocalypse looked like. And this is what survived. The dinosaurs didn't have telescopes or rockets. But we do. Maybe the end is only inevitable if we choose not to stop it. A final shot of Earth from space, quiet and blue. NASA technicians watching the skies from glowing control panels. Fade to black as a heartbeat like sonar pulse echoes and slows.